Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast is the Darkest Timeline. So it's just me talking about stuff from the week, some games, movies, and TV, of which there is all of those things this week. This week we're talking birthdays, belated Father's Day cards, getting the fear, and the car saga continues. All that, and like I say, games, movies, and TV to go through. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Share that podcast around, people. Come on. You know you want to. Do it. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, Darkest Timeline. Hello. How are we doing today? Well, we good? Good. I'm pleased to hear it. See, I have to presume you said yes. That's kind of how it works. If, for any reason, you're thinking, well, I'm not doing too good, if I'm honest, do reach out to us here at the podcast. We would love to hear from you, but that doesn't seem quite right. We would love to hear from you. We would very much like to hear from anyone and everyone. But if you are struggling right now, reach out to us here at the podcast and we will reach back. And if you think, reaching out to strangers on the internet's maybe not for me, maybe you haven't listened to enough episodes. We're friends. You and I. You and our lovely podcast people here. We're all friends here. But if you think, I'm new to the podcast, well, maybe you should reach out to friends, family, loved ones. And if maybe they are not the people for you to reach out to, then there are services out there in the world who would love to hear from you. But do not fear. You can reach out to us here at the podcast and just say hi, and we'll say hi back. And that starts a conversation. But, for the sake of this, I have to presume that you have said you are well and good, so that we can move on. Yeah, you know when you're like, was that only a week ago? Shit, bro. I had all of these things that I was like, I'm going to write that down on my list. I'm going to write that down on my list. And in the interest of trimming the fat, I didn't. But I was still got those subjects in my head. Like I was going to talk about how life is just going from one stress to another, and remembering when you were younger and thinking, I'll tell you something, when I'm an adult, everything's going to be better. And then you become an adult and wish you were a child because, fucking hell. Never quite gets better, does it? I had another subject that I was going to write down to talk about, and I was like, no, we're supposed to be trimming the fat. So let's get into it. We had a birthday in our house. That's right. My son had a birthday. Some of the things that we did for my son's birthday, I will talk about later in one of the other sections because it applies. But it was my son's birthday. He is out of an age where he knows it's a thing, just not quite what it is. And I feel this is the final year of I don't know what it is enough to be excited. The day before, I said to him, how long is it until your birthday? He said, it's 3 weeks away. And I said, it's tomorrow. So, yeah. That's kind of the level we're dealing with. Obviously, when the day rolled round and, hey, look at all these presents I've got, different story. I don't know. I've been feeling weird about this one. I've been feeling a kind of a way about it. In the sense that I I feel like it signifies the end of an era, because it does. This is the end of the preschool era for all of my children. This is the last one to go through this stage, and I started doing the how old will I be when he's 18. Realised the answer was probably not here anymore. That made me sad. And then I had to move on with life. And, it's just those things of, when will my eldest be 18? And things like that. So there's a bit of like that bittersweet kind of sensation with it. Obviously, we're all moving on to bigger and brighter things now. We're all moving on to different things. Kind of looking forward to some of it. Some of it I'm a bit like, yay! Because, when they're all at school, they won't be here to see me throwing away all of their toys. Just week by week, just more and more toys are going to leave the house. And nobody will realise until one day somebody will say, hey, do you remember that thing I had? Whatever happened to that? I'll be like, went to a charity shop about 3 months ago, along with all of the other stuff. And then that's when we'll truly work out if anybody misses it. So yes, we had a birthday and we did birthday related things. We didn't do the birthday related thing that we were going to do because it was due to be the hottest day in June since records began. And the place we were going to go is hot. It's got tropical in the name, so that might give you some idea. So we decided against that. We decided to instead visit an air-conditioned building. Which on one hand, I was like, it's the right move. We can go, we can sit in the air conditioning, we can enjoy ourselves, we can enjoy our time. It'll be nice, it'll be fun. But I did at one point say to Leanne, I was like, remember how, like, for our daughter's birthday, we went to the place that has tropical in the name? You know how we all, like, remember that? Like, it was a big thing for us, and we've got all these pictures and things, and, all of that. Do you fear that we might not have the same sort of memory for this birthday? And she was like, no, it'll be fine. We'll know what we did. We'll know where we are. We'll know what we're doing and all of that. And I was like, I think you're playing that one down. I don't think it's going to be the way you think it is. I just think, like, certain birthdays should have, like, big deals, and it felt like less of a big deal. However, as he takes a big drink, he announced at bedtime that he got all of the presents he wanted, and then revealed that one of the things that he got, he actually wanted. I was like, that was good then, because you got that for your birthday. So that was our birthday, done and dusted. We move on. Trying to think what day it was. Thursday. That rings a bell. Thursday evening. Does that track? Thursday evening? Anyway, it is not important. I do this all the time. And then so far through the process, I remember, hey, it's not important. An evening last week, Leanne comes home. She was like, here, take this. And she handed me a card. Now, I had an idea that this card was coming. My middle daughter said to me, oh, when I see you on whatever day, I've got something for you. I was like, oh, okay, that'll be nice. Something to look forward to. Those sorts of things that you say to children. I saw my middle daughter. And there was no, oh, here you go, I've got this for you. And that I kind of presumed was the end of it. However, Leanne comes in one evening and she's like, "Here, take this." I was like, "Oh, is this the item?" So my middle daughter says to me, "When I see you, I've got a Father's Day card for you." Well, I'm like, "Well, you've already given me a Father's Day card. You wrote a lovely message in it, etc., etc." I didn't think anything of it, and then I was like, "Oh, they maybe still do like make cards at school." Which would be strange because my youngest daughter didn't bring one home from school. That's all I'll say there. And then I started thinking that maybe she'd done it at another point in time, like an after-school club or something. So there I am. I've got this handmade card. I've kind of got an idea that it might be a Father's Day card. Father's Day had been and gone, so a little less appropriate in some ways, but overdue in other ways. I open the card and I start reading it, and I'm like, "What is this?" Because it was. It wasn't, a mystery. It was a Father's Day card, but it was not what I expected. So, here we go. I expected, "To Daddy, Happy Father's Day, lots of love, daughter's name." It was made at school, in a school environment. I'm not expecting War and Peace. Instead, I get a double side message. I get two messages, essentially. A left-hand message, a right-hand message. As we know the way cards work, your right-hand message is to so-and-so, happy something or other, lots of love from X. The left-hand side is when you want to do a message. Just wanted to say, really enjoy spending time with you. It was a lovely time, and I hope to do it again. And that time we saw that dolphin, wasn't it amazing? La 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 la. The left side of the card is full message. To Daddy. Apparently, don't want to brag, but apparently I am the best daddy in the world. So, all you other daddies, you probably need to, sort yourselves out. Actually start pitching him. Just saying. No, I'm joking, obviously. But this heartfelt message, what she enjoys, what we do together, all this, blah 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 blah. Then on the other side, there was very much the "To Daddy, Happy Father's Day, lots of love." But there was more. There was even more in that side of the message. Then there was like this thing that was made inside the card. It was like a springy thing and it had a heart on, and I'm like, that's not what I was expecting. Now, here's the thing. What I'm not saying is I didn't expect that she would do something like that. I didn't expect she would write something like that. What I'm saying is I didn't expect a child who's made a card at school would go all out with the message. Because to me, a school environment is, I've got to write this card, I've got to make this card, I've got to write it, and I'm just going to put a bit of something in it, and he'll be fine, kind of thing. But I was really touched by the message. And I have this, I don't know if I've said this before, if I said this last week when it was actually Father's Day. You have that sort of you feel like a bit of a fraud. Because they come and I got you a gift and I got you a card, and you're like, oh, you shouldn't have, because I'm not doing a good enough job, and I worry too much, and I never think I'm doing the right thing, and maybe I shout too much, or maybe I'm a bit off sometimes, or that day that I thought we could have gone out, but we didn't go out, and instead we stayed in and we just watched a film and played games. And personally, I don't think you're doing a good job as a parent if you're not worried. if you're not constantly like, am I doing the best? Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right thing for them? Am I doing good enough? Are they doing good? Are they doing well enough? Are they being good? If that's not you 24/7, you're just not parenting. And I know that some people will be like, well, you're just doing it wrong or you're doing it badly. But I think that's the point of how you get it right. Worrying about it. And that sounds wrong. So I'm always like, when it comes to like Father's Day, birthdays are a little different. Birthdays like, hey, you were born once, and if you weren't born, I wouldn't be born. So cheers, dude. That's what I kind of get from the birthday vibe. Hey, I'm not getting a present, so fuck you. Father's Day, though. Father's Day is essentially a celebration of your father. You know, you're like, hey, you did a thing, and now I'm here, and every day since you've done all right, because I ain't dead yet. That kind of thing. You're like, I guess. But I shouted at you that time, or I told you off that time, or I didn't buy you that toy you wanted, or I said no to an ice cream, or... it's... I never feel like I'm doing a good enough job. And then every now and then, my kids will write a card where they're like, you're the best dad, and you're such a good cook, and I love it when we spend time together. I like it when we go out and do stuff. I like it when we play games together, and I love it when we watch film, and it's like, but do you? 'Cause really, do you? Because I don't know about that. I feel like your mother told you to write something and that was the best you could come up with. Or, you're like, this is the fraudulent side of things. This is the imposter syndrome. This is where somebody says, oh, you did this and it was good. And you go, nah, it wasn't. Nah, you're pulling my leg, aren't you? You're having me on. Because, I don't know, is that the being a good parent? You don't think you're a good parent? I suppose, would it be worse if you were wandering through life like, God damn, I'm crushing this parenting stuff, aren't I? My word, I'm doing it. And then you find out years later, it's like, you were shit. Don't know if I mentioned, but a couple of weeks ago, I had a climbing-related incident. Sometimes you climb up a wall, you get to the top, and you go, there we go, I reached the top. And then you go, how the fuck do I get down from here? Sometimes you may need to use what's known as a help-me-down. It's a hold that isn't part of the route. It's designed, weirdly enough, to help you down. They are perfectly legal. Sometimes you go, shit, I've got all the way up here, up this blue, and I can't get down it. But lucky for me, there is a yellow, which is the next level down, or an orange, or, weirdly, a red, which is like a super high level version, but this red is a really good hold and I can use it to get down. So 98% of the time, you're like, fuck, I've come all the way up here and I've done it and that's great, but I don't know if I can get down. And 99.5% of the time, you will find a way. And you'll come down and you go, that was a bit sketchy. And maybe you'll think, I don't know if I want to do that one again. That didn't feel great to me. Or you'll turn to someone and be like, hey, I tell you something, going up was fine, but coming down, fuck, bro. So that is week in, week out. Sometimes you look at a route and you think, that looks horrible. Going up, that looks horrible. Coming down looks worse. You're prepared for it. Sometimes you go, I don't know about going up that one, let alone coming down. Sometimes you climb it and you go, that was horrible going up. Lovely coming down. there's a mixture, a big old mixture. Not Saturday gone, Saturday before, I was doing the new stuff, and I did one and it was horrible, and I did another one and it was horrible, and then I followed it up with a couple of others and they were delightful. I was like, okay, 50-50. And then I went up a level and I did one, gorgeous. I did a second one, beautiful. Let's keep this trend going. I went up the third. It was a little bit sketchy towards the end, but I finished it. Yay me. And then I had the realization that I couldn't get down. And I was at the top of this wall. And I couldn't get down. At all. No way, no how, no nothing. I tried a multitude of different holds, a multitude of different feet positions, and a variety of other things. And I couldn't get down. To the point where I was like, I'm going to have to call for help. I'm going to have to call and get someone to come and tell me how to get down from here, because I can't. And slowly started realizing that I'd been up there long enough that probably people were going to start wondering what the fuck I was doing. So there was that weighing on me. And then there was a situation where I was like, I think I'm going to have to jump. So, all this is going on. Time is ticking. I am thinking at some point I'm probably going to start losing my grip, which isn't good because I'm going to fall. And I need to make a decision. So, I settled with, I am going to go down as far as I can in like controlled fall. At the point in time that it starts tipping over from controlled fall into I'm going to break something, I'm going to hurt myself, I'm going to get a concussion, I'm going to die, I will then have to bail and jump. I steadied myself. And then I went for it. And it was exactly as I predicted. It started as a controlled fall. Using a handhold that I'd used to get up, I attempted to hold it to try and steady the fall, because at this point it was a fall. And as it then turned into a point of no return, I'm going to smash into the wall at this point, I then had to jump. And essentially this was jumping from the top of the wall. I jumped, I landed almost in the center of the mat. Managed to sort of right myself before falling over, which I thought was pretty impressive, and walked away shaking like a shitting dog. I went over, I sat down, I sat next to somebody, they were like, are you okay? I was like, nope. They were like, I saw you up there and I didn't know if you were stuck. I was like, I was stuck and I had to bail. They were like, it looked pretty sketchy. I was like, that is horrible. Don't go up there. And that's where I sat for 5 minutes. And then after 5 minutes, I was like, I need to do something. I've got to go because I am getting locked in on this is the worst possible thing I can do with my time. So I need to change that because we are spiraling. So there was a point where I was like, right, okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try this last blue around this corner. And then at least I've done it, and it's like kind of get back on the horse kind of situation. So I attempted to get back on the horse, and I did manage to do it. It was very difficult. I was very, for want of a better way of putting it, I was very scared. And that was that. Also, I thought. So, from that point on, nearly a week goes by of a couple of days of climbing. Climb up this, climb up that, climb up the other. Not thinking anything of it, not thinking that it's a problem, not thinking it's an issue, just going about my life. Roll around Saturday, gets climbing, no new climbing. I'm like, oh, well, that's wildly disappointing, isn't it? Okay, well, move on with life. Try some things I've still got to tick off and all that sort of stuff. I go and I climb something. I get so far and I'm like, ooh, what's going on here? I've climbed this loads of times. Why can't I go about finishing it? And I realised I was afraid. A little bit later, I tried something else. Same thing. A little bit later, I tried something else, and somebody was calling up to me, and I was like, who's calling? Why is somebody watching me? What's going on right now? Why? All of this. Came down and realised it was Ed, and he was like, you can just go from there to do this. And I turned around and was like, Ed, I've actually climbed that loads of times and finished it loads of times. But if I'm honest, since I had that fall, I think I've lost a step. And he was like, oh, you've had your confidence knocked. And I was like, yep, yeah, I have. And now I'm starting to get worried because we're a week down the line and my climbing has gone backwards because I've got the fear. If I'm honest, recently there has been X amount of, is it time to maybe stop? I don't get the level of enjoyment that I used to. I don't get the level of excitement I used to. I don't get the level of wanting to push myself on. I feel like I've kind of reached a level and maybe this is my lot. Kind of puts you in a position of why do you bother kind of thing. So, this could be a nail in the coffin. Thinking about it, could be one of those situations. Just in case anybody's wondering, car saga still ongoing. Had a conversation today which featured, can you fill a form in to book yourself in? You want me to fill a form in to book myself in? Interesting. You can't just book me in? You don't have the power to book me in? Okay, I'll do all that then, Charlie. Like, yeah, just put this down and that down and the other down. All these things to put down had prices attached. I was like, well, I hope it's free for me because I ain't paying any of this money. I was like, right, okay, I've booked it. Because they were like, book it in as soon as you can and we'll just move it. I'm like, you can move it, but you can't book it. That's good. I was like, right, I booked it in as soon as I could get it booked in. They were like, cool. We'll see you at 9:15. I was like, 9:15 in the morning? 8:45 in the morning? You're nearly 2 hours away from where I live. You're going to see me at 8:45 in the morning. So I'm leaving the house at 7. Then, yeah? I'm like, have you got any other options for time that I can drop the car off? 'Cause, 8:45 in the morning and I've got kids. They're like, oh, well, you want the first appointment of the day, don't you? Like, I don't really give a flying fuck, but I also don't want to be driving across to you at 8:45 in the morning when I live 2 hours away. So I had to do all of that, go through all of that, get all of that sorted. And then I was like, so when will my car be ready? No response. Cool. Okay, let's try another one. How do I get home? Are you going to provide me a car? Yeah, have you got insurance? Yes, I have insurance. Of course I've got fucking insurance. How do you think I'm driving around? Well, you'll have to prove it then. Can you send me your insurance? Like, So yes, I get to drive for 2 hours first thing in the morning to drop my car off, to find out if I'm going to be able to get home from there. Don't know when I'll be going back to collect my car, because apparently they can't tell me that bit. This is the first time I've had this level of service when buying a car. I count myself incredibly lucky, because I've heard some horror stories. But oh my, this has been an eye-opening experience. Answer me this. In this digital world where we all want to move away from, phone calls and actually having to interact with people, and we all want to move to the wonderful world of online technology, the online world, why don't you text us? Okay, I'll do that. I don't want to talk to anybody on the phone. Sure, I'll text you. It only works if you answer my questions, though. If I say to you, what's happening with this situation, and you just ignore that, then it doesn't work. The process has completely collapsed straight away. Leon's like, why don't you ring them? I was like, because ringing them is like ringing a wall. You get just as much information if you got the phone number of that wall and gave it a ring. You get less information from ringing them. So they prefer to deal with you in text. Fine, let's go with text. But at least answer the fucking question. At this point in time, I just want it done with. I just want it over and done with. I keep saying to myself, I just want it over and done with, so that the car I have bought can then reveal to me magically what horrific problems it's got with it. And then I can go, hey, I bought this car and it's got all these horrible problems. For them to go, well, not our problem. Middle finger. So, yeah. Get to deal with that fun this week. Hopefully got my car back by the weekend, because I need it over the next couple of weeks, because I've got some big old drives coming up. And believe me, I'm absolutely going to be talking about them at length. Can't wait. Let's move on. TV. Me and Leanne are still well and truly in The Young Sheldon. I think we're into season 5 of 7 at this point. Things are taking a turn. I know what's coming. Leanne doesn't. I've said to her, it's going to get a bit ropey. She's like, don't tell me. I was like, okay, but don't say I didn't warn you. We started watching it the other evening. There was a guy who's been in it a couple of times, and he said something, and I went, huh? I was like, no fucking way. Immediately to IMDb. Had a little look. I was like, it absolutely is. I can't believe it. I said to Leanne, I was like, do you recognise that man? She was like, no. She was like, he was in this a few episodes back. I was like, he was, but that's not what he's famous for, because he's very famous for something. She was like, does he do a voice in something? I was like, yes, he does. She was like, what is it? And I looked over at our mantelpiece where I drew a picture of SpongeBob. She was like, somebody from SpongeBob. I was like, that right there is the voice of Patrick Star. So that was a fun little ditty. I'm still on with My Hero Academia. I don't know what to tell you. Every time I think I'm going to give up on this. I think I'm going to move on. I think I'll maybe come back. I'll come back to it. You know, that old chestnut. Something good happens. It's like every time I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done here. I can watch something else now. I've given this enough of a go. I don't think this is for me, and all of those things. Then something good happens and you're like, ooh, that was fun.
So I'm still sticking with it. I'm so far through series 2 at this point in time.
It's one of those weird ones. I don't think there are that many series. I think it like recently had a new series released, and it was like series 5 or something. So it has to be sort of reasonably new, I guess.
But as I've said before, I think it's partially to do with the fact that there is an anime that I do want to watch. I'm quite looking forward to. So I'm a bit like, it's a little column A, a little column B, I think. As I mentioned before, it was my son's birthday, and the big air-conditioned building we went to was the cinema, and we went all-out cinema action. We got ice cream, which I suppose when you're talking about cinema, all-out cinema is probably popcorn. And there was a point where we were going to get him like this deal where you could get like some popcorn and some sweets and a drink for like $5, I think it was. And I was like, that's actually not that bad for the cinema. But Lemon was like, you want to get an ice cream? And he was like, yeah. She was like, do you want an ice cream? And I was like, yeah, go on then. So, what did we go and see? Well, in a world where 4 movies in a franchise isn't enough, let's have a 5th one, shall we? Toy Story 5. Now I want to say this. 5 Toy Story movies. I didn't know they were making a Toy Story 5 until they announced there was going to be a Toy Story 5. I feel they announced it in the sense of, oh, by the way, there's going to be a Toy Story 5. And you go, oh, for fuck's sake. And they went, oh, and it's coming out in like 2 weeks' time. And I was like, for fuck's sake. Then I'm like, I'm not sure I've seen anything past the 2nd. And then you think about it, you go, nah, I've seen the 3rd. And I've seen the 4th. It's fine. Had to explain to my youngest daughter that we absolutely would not be going to the cinema to see Toy Story 5 because we have Disney Plus and I pay an absolute fucking fortune for it. So I can't pay an absolute fortune for Disney Plus and then take all of the children to the cinema to see a Disney movie. 2 days later, I made Leanne tell my youngest daughter that we were taking our son to the cinema to see a Disney film because I was like, I ain't doing that because I've just told her the reasons that we're not going. She very eloquently basically explained it's too fucking hot and we're off to the cinema. Suck it. So away we went. Now, I truly believed that we did not need a Toy Story 5. I had absolutely zero interest in seeing Toy Story 5. I only went along because it was my son's birthday. In any other situation, I would not have gone to see Toy Story 5 because A, as previously mentioned, we have Disney Plus and I pay a fucking fortune for it. B, I don't think we need a 5th movie. C, I don't think it's going to be very good. And, you know, D, I don't know, I could give you another reason, but, you know, I'm up to D at this point. That's what she said. So, I went in with a very closed mind. Very closed mind. I had a gist of what this one was going to be about. It was going to be about the dangers of technology. Well, I'm all up for that because I love and hate technology all at the same time. Tried to get into my car this evening, and my car was like, nah. I'm like, the fuck do you mean no? And it was like, nah. And I pressed some buttons and it was like, nah, that don't work either. Lol. Like, okay, well, let's try this then. And the car was like, no. Like, okay. All right, this is how you want to play it, is it? Well, how about this? I'm going to do this. And it went, nope. I was like, all right. How about this? And the car went, damn it, you got me. I was like, ha, let me in. And it went, no. Like, oh, well, fair enough. I've got the bits I need. Sure, that's not going to be a problem at any point. I'm sure it doesn't connect to the fact that I have no internet. Which, if you think about that statement, yes, I can't get into my car because my house has no internet. Just give that one a minute. Hey, it's all fine because at this point in time, still don't have any internet. I think we're at 2 hours at this point. In fact, let me check. Let me have a look because my computer that I'm using right now says we have no internet. Yep. No internet. Hang on. Let me check the internet. What does the internet say? The internet says that it checked it now. Broadband issue found. You might not have any internet. You don't fucking toot, and I don't. It's all right because they're going to fix it by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Spoilers. That ain't going to work for me. So, off we tootle. So technology, it's a wonderful thing, right up until the point it isn't. And then, fucking hell, it's a pain in the ass. Off we tootle to the cinema, we get in there, we sit down, we watch a load of trailers, which never gets boring, does it? We watched a trailer for a movie where they were like, you've got to go into this magical world and you've got to try not to forget your memories, because if you do, then the world will be destroyed. And I was like, ooh. And then we watched a trailer. I think it was like a Paw Patrol film. And then another trailer came on and it was like, you've got to go into this magical world and save all the memories, because if you don't, the world's going to end. And I went, is this not the same film as the last one before the Paw Patrol? It's the same movie. It's the exact same film. It was a different film, but it was exactly the same. And I was like, yikes, that is a bad look. So, away we go. Toy Story 5. I've got Face Like Thunder because I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't want to be here. I don't want to watch this movie. Fuck Toy Story 5. Fuck all these other movies. Nobody's got any original ideas anymore. Fuck this bullshit. I think I'd finished my ice cream by that point as well. So, bad times all around. I did have 3 drinks to work my way through, though. Drink 1, gone. And I'm not hating Toy Story 5. On to drink 2. And I slow rolled this one. I was like, I don't want to rush this one. I don't want to be needing a wee part way through the film. Drink 2 gone. I am still awake. By this point, I'm in it. I'm in it. I am, it's fair to say, enjoying Toy Story 5. I was like, do you know what? I'm pulling the trigger on the 3rd drink. I am prepared to need a wee so that I can stay engaged with this film. And I cracked that 3rd drink, and away we go. And made it all the way through the movie awake, boys and girls. Having had a 5:45 start, I stayed awake through a film that started at midday. Yeah. Don't check my caffeine levels by the time I walked out of that film. So, Toy Story 5, was it worth it? It really was. I will say this, and this isn't, from my perspective, this isn't a criticism. That was not a film for children. I looked at that film and went, there is literally nothing here for kids. There's a sprinkling of stuff. I asked my son what his favourite part of the film was, and he was like, the Buzz Army. And I was like, yeah, they were cool, weren't they? But they were like their own story, like a mini story wrapped up in the rest of the film. And the rest of the film was 100% for parents. There's nothing there for kids. It was all about how technology is ruining the youth of today and how we should get rid of it and send children back to play. And I'm all for it. I am one of the few people who you will find who absolutely supports the social media ban. I wish they'd ban my social media, although I've banned myself from some of them. I think that it was really good at highlighting just how awful these devices are, how awful this level of connection is, how awful it is for children's brains, how you should not be able to have that level of access to children and other children. There needs to be some sort of disconnect at some point. And if your child is really, really young and you just stick a tablet in their hands and go, oh yeah, it's a way of them making friends. Yeah, that's where it's all gone wrong. It was great. I loved it. I have seen all 5. It's probably one of the better ones of recent times. But like I say, I'm not going to tell you it's for kids. I don't think it is. Yeah, the Buzz Army was great, but in themselves, they were a device. And that was also highlighted. I think it was very much designed to send a message to parents. So yeah, definitely one of the better ones. Would definitely recommend. Moving on to computer games, and my word, there's a lot of them. Steam sale, summer sale, and yeah, once I got into the deep discount section, I was in trouble. I think I bought 12 games for the princely sum of £50. And by the end of the first day, I'd already refunded one of them because I did I'm 100% sure what this game's going to be and I can't wait. And I put it on and went, this is not the game I thought it was going to be and I will never play this again. So I got it refunded. However, let's jump back a little bit. I finished Crimson Desert. Now, caveat, I have rolled credits on Crimson Desert. I haven't finished it because there are still missions of like, you do like a tidying up kind of thing. I don't mean you get a sweeping brush. I mean, you go and talk to people that you've met through the game and basically do the, hey, you defeated that big thing, didn't you? And you're like, yeah, what are we going to do now? And they're like, oh, I'm going to rebuild. And you're like, cool. And then it'll be like, go and talk to so-and-so who's over the other side of the map. I haven't finished doing those missions, but I have rolled credits on the game. All in all, it's a great game. It's got its flaws, and I think we've heard more than enough about it. It does change quite a lot. It's an ever-changing game, which initially I really liked because it showed commitment to the game. As time went on, it got a bit much. And I will come to another game that's also doing something similar. It's just a bit much. You just can't really keep up with what's going on, and you don't know what's different to the last time. You don't know if the same settings and same things are going to be there, or if you've got something new, or if there's a different way of doing things. It's a game that I'm split into thirds on. I would love to play that game again. I'd really like to play it on the PC and just absolutely hammer it with mods. And then there's a part of me that never wants to see it again. Because it's just so big and it just takes so much. So, we'll see. Luckily for me, it didn't go into a heavy discount in a Steam sale. So, I didn't have to worry about that. Forza Horizon 6. Got into this like death loop of could not progress the game on, and basically had to set the game to tell me where all the Horizon events were that I hadn't completed, and I just had to systematically go through ticking them all off. Eventually, when I'd done absolutely all of them, it finally allowed me to unlock the final area, and it was like, hey, now you've got these big races to do. I was like, cool. It's like, oh, by the way, you also need a bajillion points to progress. And at that point, I realized the only way you can do that is by getting better, more stars from activities you've already done. And I went, I don't think it's possible to finish this game. I think they've put this game into this loop of you'll never be able to do it. And that was kind of the point where I went, I think I'm okay walking away from this game now, because this game has made it very, very difficult to progress. Unnecessarily difficult to progress, and I don't like it. So as a protest, I am prepared to walk away. So we'll see on that one. I'm still in two minds. We'll see on that. 007 First Light. I have actually finished. What I believe to be the end of the game turned out to be a very, very long ending to a game. Days it took me to actually finish. I thought it was just going to be a little side kind of thing. You go in, you do a thing, and job done. No, it was many, 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 many different bits of a mission. One of these big missions that the game has in a very large area, doing a lot of different things. It took me days to do and to finish, but I have now finished 007 First Light. Not a game I'm rushing to play again. A game that, if I'm honest, I might never play again. There just wasn't enough there. There wasn't enough substance to warrant it. Now, that might not make sense. What I mean is, it's a prime example of a game that could have so easily been better if the people that made Hitman made a Bond game a little bit more like Hitman. Didn't have to be just Hitman with a Bond skin. It could have been just a bit more like Hitman with a little bit more freedom. I think it would have been a lot better. But it was it just basically felt like a scripted game. Like, you just have these sections where you'd go and you'd either do some sort of fighting or some sort of shooting, and the rest of the time you were just there for the ride. They obviously had a very good story that they wanted to tell, and they didn't care whether you wanted to see it or not. You were going to see it, and you were going to see every minute of it. Couple of games that I did pick up in the sale. I picked up Wreckfest. It's been on my wish list for a very long time, and it dropped very low, very, very low. And I went, I'm going to roll the dice on that. And to start with, I was glad I did. I loved Destruction Derby when I was younger. Loved it. And Wreckfest is what if Destruction Derby was made now? And I went, sold. Just not for too much money. I bought it. I started playing it. I went, fuck yeah, this is great. This is fucking Destruction Derby if they made it now. Oh, this is awesome. That lasted for about 3 races. Then I started remembering all the things that made Destruction Derby bad. Like, if you were in a Destruction Derby, not a race, but in the actual, like, the dome, and there's like 3 of you left, one's missing a wheel, and you're driving backwards, trying to line up, hitting one of the 2 other people that are left, and they move at the last second, it can drag on a little. Because I had that situation last night. I did end up winning in the end, but it took a very, very long time. One of the things I do like is that some of the races and the Destruction Derby things you do on lawnmowers, so it's hilarious. Right up until I started one last night where everybody was on a lawnmower, apart from one guy who was in a combine harvester. I think you can imagine how that went. I have a feeling it's going to be quite short-lived. I don't seem to be able to progress too far in it at the moment. There's one that I can't do because it's like, you don't have the car for this. Like, okay, so give me the car then. They were like, no. So one of those, not sure what sort of longevity I've got on this one, but it didn't cost me a lot of money. So I'm a bit like, I'll probably have my money's worth out of it now. I'll see how the kids get on. I put my daughter on it and she was like, yay, I don't want to play anymore. I was like, okay, fine. Just thinking about it, I should put down one of my son's games that he got for his birthday, because I've played a lot of that this week, but I don't think anybody wants to hear about SpongeBob. Finally, a game I've been waiting to come down in price for a very long time, and it went into a deep, heavy discount, but heavy discount brought down from like 60 quid down to like 40. And I was like, this game is just holding its price. And honestly, if I want to play it, I might have to stump up a bit of cash. So I did some overtime in the last month, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to treat myself, and I'm actually going to buy a game because I'm in the market for a proper get your teeth into it game. So I bought Stellar Blade. I did not buy it for the reason that most people would buy that game, and I'll leave that one there. If you've ever seen the front cover or any images from the game, you might guess what I mean. I bought it because I heard it was Souls-like, just not quite that hard, and I went, I'm in. And that, for me, was enough. What isn't enough is it's a game that has a massive skill tree. It's huge, this skill tree. But when it makes you unlock dodge early on, I was like, nah, that should come as standard though. And there's a lot of, this game's gonna be great once you've played it for several hours. I'm like, can't it be great now and get better as you play? Because right now it's severely lacking. So is it going to get good soon? How many upgrade points do I need before it gets good? I've heard nothing but great things about it. Nothing but great things. So I know that I just need to get on with it. But so it hasn't started out all that well. So yeah, I'm just a bit like, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Finally, a game that I alluded to earlier, finally got to play some VR last night. First time in a while. It's been too warm. Last night was the first time I was like, yeah, it's not that warm. I'll put some VR on. Put Into the Radius 2 on and discovered, oh yeah, there was some mention about having an update. It did have an update. Again. So I had to like monkey around with all the mods, change all the mods, put the right ones in, take the wrong ones out, blah, blah, blah. Then you forget, it's had an update because they've done their first DLC, which is just some cosmetics. You can have all of the kit from the first Into the Radius. And I was like, I don't particularly want the kit from the first one. What else have you got? You got any like missions or weapons or anything like that? No, was the short version. The only thing that interested me was I did like the knife from the first one because it's like a big machete. But if you're buying it, you're buying the whole kit and caboodle. It has an update. New weapons have been introduced into the game. Not wildly interesting. Nothing of real merit. But yes, was good to get back to playing a bit of Into the Radius 2. Get back to playing a bit of VR. And had a jolly good time of it. And there we go. That's it. That is the end of the podcast. Not too bad in the end. Cut away all that fat. Just wish I could do the same to myself. Right. There we go. That's it. And I'll catch you next time. So there we go. I just think that. Another one done. Another one gone. Big thank you for watching. Big thank you for listening. Big thank you for being here. Before you leave us, do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review. I can leave a review. Check out the website, people. thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links, I guess. And an email button. And that way you can get in touch with us. There we go. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye. And I'll see you then.
How awesome is that? So awesome. You gotta like, share and subscribe.